Hey everyone, my name is Cadi and welcome back to my channel. I know I probably look pretty different from the last time you guys saw me, and that's why I needed to make this video. As you can see from the title, this video is going to be about COVID hair loss, specifically while having locks. I wanted to make this video for a while because the COVID related hair loss that I experienced started a while ago and has been going on for like around 6 months. It's better now, and when it was starting I was like desperately searching the internet every day and YouTube like every day to just see if anyone was talking about it, and I could only ever find like little things here and there, like on Reddit, people like mentioning that it was happening and things that they were doing. But like all long COVID symptoms, it was pretty mysterious and there wasn't like a concrete thing you could do to help. So I just wanted to talk a bit about my own experience in case anyone else experiences this and wants to hear like a first-hand perspective. So I'm not a doctor or scientist, so I can't get into like the really, you know, like technical things, but I know one of the long list of symptoms for long COVID is hair loss, and specifically your hair thinning over time but at a really rapid rate. For me, I had never experienced something like that before. I've always had like very fine hair, but I have like thick hair at the same time. If you have like natural or like textured hair, you know what I mean. Like obviously my hair like is in tight coils, but like it's never been super voluminous. It's always kind of like been really flat on my head. So it was really jarring. I had many long COVID symptoms actually after the first time that I had COVID. And the hair loss sort of came at the end. And at first I didn't really notice it because I was dealing with other stuff, but I started to notice that whenever I was like washing my hair in the shower, for example, there was a lot more shedding. And this is where I think the unique COVID hair loss with locks things comes in, because when you have locks, your hair sheds like everyone's hair sheds, but the shedded hair travels down like the shaft of your lock, you know, it doesn't come out on a hairbrush, it doesn't like end up on your floor. So for me, being in the shower and seeing like a lot more hair on the shower floor was freaking me out, because I was like, why? Like that means it's happening really fast. So first it was that, and then like, you know, by like a month in, it was visible. I might put up pictures or videos here, but honestly, if you guys have been watching my channel, you could see it in other videos if I ever like was parting my hair on the side or something. It started thinning all around the perimeter, and like, I don't know, I guess like the thing when you have locks, right, your hair is parted, so like you see the width of the part here, as in like how much scalp you can see between my locks versus like over here. I mean, it's better, it's a lot better now, but see, it's just wider, there's like more scalp showing. And I was starting to see that, and I started becoming really self-conscious about like how I was parting my hair, like what styles I could do to try to hide it. And again, if you guys have been watching my channel, you know I'm not really like a hair person, I'm not really like a hairstylist person, I just like to get up and go. So it was sort of like throwing me into a whole new thing that I didn't have any experience with, and therefore didn't really know how to deal with it, how to cope with it, how to hide it. Especially like on camera, if I was having to do like a profile shot, I'd be so aware, and if there wasn't a mirror near me, I tried to actually like develop the ability to just like feel my hair and see like if the areas were covered up. It also really made me sort of face femininity for the first time. I'm not really sure how to phrase that, but I know for a lot of people, like your hair can become your identity. it can shape your personality. And I think I've never been like a super feminine person, and I guess I enjoyed having sort of like long, flowy, traditionally feminine looking hair, because it meant that I could do anything else with like my clothes and my face and still, I don't know, come off in a certain way. And I guess when my hair was like thinning, and I'm 28 years old, I was like feeling like I was being forced into like a different stage of my life that I wasn't prepared for yet. Like honestly, it was really affecting my self-esteem, my confidence. And again, that's like very weird for me. And when I would talk about it, like with my family, my parents and friends and stuff, you know, I could see in people's faces that they were honestly like kind of surprised that I cared that much. And it surprised me too. But I think the thing is, any sudden change in your appearance would probably have that effect, because you like need time to get used to yourself. And you know, in regular life, you change every day. Like obviously we age every day, you change every day, you look different, but you see yourself every day, so you don't really see those changes. It's just happening slowly and naturally. But all your hair falling out suddenly is definitely unnatural. And I also felt pretty isolated, because while, you know, most people have had COVID at this point, not everyone experienced long COVID. I really did have like most of the long COVID symptoms in 2021. I got COVID for the first time in January, like around New Year's. It might have been like right at the end of December. And when I actually had COVID, it was just like, I kind of had like a cold for a couple of days, and then, you know, I was in isolation for that, but I was feeling better. I was just like hanging out in my room. And then afterwards, once I tested negative, it wasn't like, maybe like a couple weeks or maybe even like a month later, until suddenly all this stuff, I didn't have taste, I didn't have smell, I had really bad insomnia, I had like muscle soreness all the time, I had like migraines, other things that I fortunately can't even really remember right now, which, you know, is nice. When you're living through something, it seems like the end of the world, but once it's over, you're like, wow, that was such a crazy time. I don't remember now, but it was like a long list of all the long COVID symptoms, all the little weird ones, and then at the end, like towards the end of spring, early summer, was when my hair started thinning. So at that point, I had pretty much gotten over all of the long COVID symptoms, and so I thought I was on the other side. I was like feeling a lot more upbeat and optimistic about stuff. So like the first thing I did, I remember I joined a Facebook group. Well, the first thing I did when I realized I was having long COVID symptoms was join this Facebook group. It started out as a group just for prosmia, which is not being able to taste properly. But then it sort of like morphed into a general support group for all long COVID symptoms. And the group was helpful, I guess, just in the way of being able to see that other people were dealing with the same stuff. And then, you know, with the hair, I set so many Google alerts for like long COVID hair loss, etc. Just so that anything in the news or any new information that popped up, I would see it right away. And because it was pretty mysterious, you know, at first the things that doctors were recommending were the things they would recommend for any type of hair loss, like Rogaine and that kind of stuff. And I always hesitate a little to just jump to like a medicated thing. I try to search for like the natural roots first. And then here's where I want to talk a bit about the mistakes that I made in this journey of trying to heal my hair. I was obviously feeling really desperate, so I had like a note on my phone in the Notes app of just like all the things that people were trying, and then I was just going down the list and like trying all of them, which is not good because just like with like skincare, any vitamin, you need to introduce something slowly and give it time to see if it works before trying something else. And instead I was like doing something, not seeing my hair grow back for like 3 days, and then jumping to the next thing and like piling all the things on together, which definitely just deteriorated my scalp more, I'm sure. I started with the little things like doing scalp massages, making sure everything that I put on my head was like silk lined, not wearing like buns or ponytails, things like that. But I did make a really big mistake early on. Once I started actually seeing like big sections of hair missing here, I went and like combed out the locks that I had in those areas to try to redo the parts to like cover more space of my scalp, if that makes sense. Instead of leaving my hair alone, which, you know, you definitely don't want to be like tugging on your scalp, tugging on those weak, thinning strands of hair more, but I was, because I needed like a quicker fix. I'm sure that didn't help at all, and if those other early treatments would have helped, I didn't really give them a chance. I bought like one of those hair growth oils. I feel like there are so many now, but it was the I don't know, it was like the 10-in-1 hair growth oil that I used to always see ads for, and I was like, you know what, why not? And again, this was a mistake for me, especially because I know my whole life that my hair, my scalp don't love oil, neither does my skin. Like, that's not for everyone, that's not for all natural hair. I've always been a water-based moisturizing person, not oil, but I put this 10-in-1 hair growth oil. It was so thick, and every single night I would put it on everywhere around my edges, and I would like rub it in, but like in the morning it was still there. It was so thick and oily, it like never fully absorbed. And I feel like I remember thinking after like 1 week of using it that it was really working, and I was like seeing hair growing in those areas, but then after that it plateaued, and then I think it made my hair like fall out even faster. This isn't a review of that product because I knew it wasn't even for me to begin with, but it didn't work for me, and I think it made it worse. And then I tried Vegamore, because again, it's like a super popular thing. I got like their whole system too. I was using the shampoo, the conditioner, the oils, whatever. And again, I felt like it was working at first, and then it made it worse. And I will say that when all these products, when I would look at the reviews, I did see other people mentioning that specific thing frequently, that it seemed to work at first and then it made it worse. And I think that's just because you know, everyone's hair grows at a certain rate naturally, and you can't really manipulate that, and you have to like keep using these products forever too. I just think it doesn't work with everyone's chemistry. Oh, and then I went on to the really, really expensive supplements after seeing some article, I don't remember now, but it was like 2 celebrities who were experiencing COVID hair loss who swore by this thing to help them. Nutrafol. So expensive. The bottles are so small. You have to take it every day. You have to take like multiple a day. It just really wasn't sustainable, and I didn't really see an effect. It made my skin feel really dry. Don't know if that's a common side effect, but at that point, like, you know, if I was ingesting things rather than just using like topical things, I was getting really, really desperate, because I usually wouldn't do that. And I didn't keep it up. So I don't know, there might have been a few more things that I tried, but now I want to jump to the thing that actually started working, which I should have been doing from the beginning, and I kind of was, but not properly. And that's rosemary oil, just rosemary in general. You hear about it all the time, but that's because it does work and it's natural. What the thing is that a lot of people don't have the patience to actually like wait and see that something is working. And you know, a natural solution isn't gonna be like an overnight thing, but it is what worked. So at the beginning of this whole thing, I was using rosemary. I have rosemary essential oil and I was putting drops of it into everything that I mentioned. I put it into every shampoo, every spray, everything that went on my scalp had a little extra rosemary in it, but I did not know the proper way to dilute it. So just putting drops into my shampoo, for example, could have been way too few drops or way too many drops. I don't know if that was doing anything, but eventually I like sat down and I was like, okay, scratch everything else that I tried. If I'm going all in on rosemary, what's the proper way to do it? So what I started doing, I got the lightest weight oil that I could think of, because again, oil doesn't personally help hydrate or moisturize my hair like it does other people's. It doesn't like harm it necessarily, but it does kind of just like sit on top. So I got grapeseed oil, which is like super thin. It doesn't really like smell like anything, and it rubs in really quickly. And I put drops of rosemary oil into that to dilute it, and I used it like every few days, only on the areas that showed like really progressed thinning. And then after I would wash my hair, I would put that mixture into my palm, you know, warm it up like this, and actually like go in all over my head and like the length of my hair. Oh, that was weird because I haven't had short hair for that long. I did this and there was nothing there. Yeah, I would rub that all over my head and my scalp. So that was only once a week after I showered and while my hair was damp. And I really saw a change quickly, and it was a sustained change. My hair felt a lot thicker, it was shinier, and it was softer. And while I've never really been a person to like take progress photos of anything, I was like, you know, so hyper focused on my scalp that I did see the changes. I was looking every day, you know, here and here, and seeing those areas filling in, like not, you know, with enough length to be able to support another lock in that area, but the space between my locks was no longer like just my scalp. It was like short little baby hairs. And I was so excited. I mean, I cried several times over the course of this whole thing, but like when I really started taking the rosemary seriously, I was bawling like a baby. At the end of the day, that is what worked for me, and I'm kind of just rambling off the top of my head in this video, but I wanted to get these thoughts out now that I feel like I'm on the other side of this. And also I wanted to talk about it because obviously everyone talks about how beneficial rosemary oil is, but not necessarily like the different circumstances it can be helpful for. And now I know that it's pretty much for everything, because I've seen people talk about rosemary oil for just like general hair health, making your hair like thicker and grow faster and stuff. But if it's helpful for like COVID related hair loss, it can be helpful for hormonal hair loss, it can be helpful for like postpartum hair loss, you know, things that you think would be out of your control, but it's great. And yeah, I just hope that this video can be helpful to anyone else going through this, and let you know that you're not alone. COVID is not over. I've had it 2 other times since the first time, so I've had it 3 times, and so far it seems like I'm not having any long COVID symptoms from those other 2 times, which is awesome. Fingers crossed. But I absolutely would not want to go through that again. And the whole time I knew it was temporary. That was the only general consensus online, was that COVID hair loss was temporary. That in like 6 months to a year to 2 years, you would see the thinning reduce and your hair start to grow back. But of course, with having locks, that means that the whole time that my hair is thinning, it would be weakening my roots, and at some point, whenever it would go back to its normal like health and growth cycle, you'd be able to see that in the length of my locks. You'd be able to see, you know, where it was thin and then where it got thick again, and that would probably lead to a lot of breakage. That will actually lead me into my next video, which I'm just gonna cut here and make that a new video to talk about why I did this. So for now, that's the end of my COVID hair loss story. Thank you guys for listening. If no one watches this, that's just great, because that means no one's got to deal with this. But if you are dealing with this, it's temporary. It's not that big a deal. Everything feels so enormous in the moment, but when it's done, you're gonna just see how strong you were to get through it. All right, I love you guys. See you soon. Bye.